You won't believe what collectors are paying just to own automotive history. Forget dealerships. These cars are sold in rooms where millions move in seconds. Here are the top 10 most expensive cars ever auctioned in history. If you're into cars, money, or just watching rich people lose their minds, smash that subscribe button right now. Number 10, 1994, Ferrari F40 LM, sold for approximately $2,200,000. We're starting at number 10 and we're already in the millions. Buckle up. The Ferrari F40 was already one of the most iconic supercars ever built. But the LM version, that's a different animal entirely. LM stands for Le Mans, and this particular car was built for racing, stripped down, tuned up, and brutally fast. It was never meant for the road, it was meant for glory. When this car crossed the auction block, bidders weren't just buying a Ferrari. They were buying a piece of motorsport DNA. The F40 LM is the kind of car that makes grown men emotional in a parking lot. Sold for just over $2,200,000, and honestly, for what it is, that almost feels like a bargain. From racing royalty to something even more untouchable. Number 9, 1956 Aston Martin DBR, one sold for approximately $22,500,000. The jump from number 10 to 9 is violent, but that's what happens when you bring out a car that won Le Mans. The Aston Martin DBR1 is considered by many to be the most important British racing car ever built. It won the 1959 24 Hours of Le Mans and the World Sports Car Championship in the same year. This wasn't just a win, it was Aston Martin's finest moment in motorsport history, and it never happened again at that level. The car that sold at auction was one of only 5 DBR1s ever made. 5. When something is that rare and carries that kind of legacy, the price doesn't surprise you, it humbles you. $22,500,000? Sold, history sells. But what if the car itself is the history? Number 8, 1962, Ferrari 330 TRM/LM Testarossa, sold for approximately $35,700,000. Ferrari shows up on this list a lot, and honestly, that's no accident. The 330 TRI/LM Testarossa was the last front-engine Ferrari to win Le Mans. In 1962, it dominated one of the most grueling races on the planet, and then it quietly disappeared into private hands. For decades, it was kept away from the public eye, preserved almost perfectly. When it finally came to auction, collectors lost composure. $35,700,000. For context, that's more than most professional athletes earn in their entire careers for one car that doesn't have air conditioning and barely has a roof. Ferrari keeps coming, but the next one changed the game entirely. Number 7, 1957 Ferrari 335 Sport Scaglietti, sold for approximately $35,700,000. Yes, the same price as number 8. 2 different Ferraris, 2 different auctions, one identical jaw-dropping figure. The 335 Sport Scaglietti was designed by one of the greatest coach builders who ever lived, and it raced in the 1957 Mille, one of the most dangerous and celebrated road races in history. The body is breathtaking, long, curvaceous, and muscular in all the right places. It looks like it's moving even when it's standing still. When this car hit the auction stage in Paris, it set a record for the most expensive car ever sold at auction in Europe at the time. $35,700,000. And the room went silent when the hammer dropped. 2 cars, 1 price, 0 regrets. Now the numbers start climbing fast. Number 6, 1954 Mercedes-Benz W196 Formula One car, sold for approximately $29,600,000. This one is different. This isn't just a race car, this is the car that announced Mercedes-Benz was back. After World War II, German manufacturers were rebuilding from scratch. Mercedes returned to Formula One racing in 1954 with the W196, and they absolutely dominated. Juan Manuel Fangio, arguably the greatest F1 driver of all time, drove this car to 2 consecutive world championships. The car is inseparable from the man, and the man is inseparable from history. When Bonhams put this W196 up for auction in 2013, it became the most expensive Formula One car ever sold. $29,600,000 for a single-seat open-wheel racer with no luggage space and a gear shift that will break your wrist if you get it wrong. Formula One royalty is behind us. Now we're stepping into pure legend. Number 5. 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe, sold for approximately $143 million. $143 million. That is the most expensive car ever sold at auction. Full stop. No competition. Only 2 of these cars were ever built, and for nearly 70 years, Mercedes kept both of them locked away. They were never for sale. They were considered too historically significant to ever leave the company's possession. Then in 2022, Mercedes quietly offered one of them, and a private sale turned into the most expensive automotive transaction in human history. The 300 SLR was designed by Rudolf Uhlenhaut, one of the most gifted engineers Mercedes ever employed. He actually drove this car to work on regular roads because it had a top speed of nearly 300 kilometers per hour, and he apparently enjoyed that. The car combines racing performance, breathtaking design, and an almost mythological backstory. $143 million. The number is so large it stops feeling real. But the car is real and it is extraordinary. That's the record holder. But let's rewind. The rest of the countdown still has fire in it. Number 4, 1962 to 63, Ferrari 250 GTO, sold for approximately $70 million. The Ferrari 250 GTO is probably the most coveted collector car on the planet. Ask any serious enthusiast to name the Holy Grail, this is it. Only 36 were ever made between 1962 and 1964. Every single one has been tracked, documented, and obsessed over. These cars have waiting lists that don't move. They change hands privately for enormous sums, and when one does appear at public auction, the result is always historic. In 2018, one sold for $70 million, a record for any car at public auction at that time. It's not just the rarity, it's the racing history, the timeless design, and the fact that owning a GTO puts you in an impossibly exclusive club. These cars aren't driven, they're worshipped. From worshipped to weaponized, this next car was built with one purpose. Number 3, 1964 Ferrari 275 GTB/C Speciale, sold for approximately $26,400,000. Another Ferrari, another record, another reason to wonder what's in the water in Maranello. The 275 GTB/C Speciale was a competition version of Ferrari's most refined Gran Turismo car of the era. Only 3 were ever built to this exact specification. The body was made from lightweight alloy, the engine was hand-assembled, and every component was chosen for performance. This particular car was kept by its original owner for decades before finally coming to auction. The moment it was announced, the collector world took notice. $26,400,000. 3 cars in existence, 1 hammer, 1 very lucky buyer, 1 owner for decades. Next up, a car that barely left the factory. Number 2, 1963 Ferrari 250 GTO, chassis 4153 GT, sold for approximately $70,250,000. Yes, another 250 GTO. Because when you're talking about the most expensive cars in history, this model earns multiple spots on the list. This specific chassis is considered one of the finest surviving examples. It raced extensively, won races, and then spent decades in careful private ownership. The provenance is immaculate, the condition is remarkable, and the story behind it is layered with real passion from the people who owned and preserved it. When R.M. Sotheby's put it up for sale, it broke the record that the previous GTO had just set, $70,250,000, for a 60-year-old race car that makes more noise than a jet engine and has no cup holders. And now the one that towers over everything else on this list. Number 1, 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe, sold for $143 million, the most expensive car in history. We already talked about this car, but it deserves the top spot again with the full weight of what that number means. $143 million. That figure didn't just break the previous record, it shattered it. The previous record was 70 million. Mercedes nearly doubled it in a single transaction. There's something deeply emotional about this car. It represents the peak of a golden era in motorsport. It was built by brilliant engineers at the height of their powers. It was never meant to be sold, and yet, here it is, carrying the highest price tag in automotive history. Whoever owns it now possesses something irreplaceable. Not just a machine, a monument. From $2 million race cars to a $143 million unicorn, these aren't just auction results. They're proof that the right car, at the right moment in history, becomes something money can barely measure. These machines carry stories, emotions, and legacies that outlive everyone in that bidding room. And somewhere out there, the next record is waiting to be broken. If you want more videos like this, rare, expensive, and completely insane, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one.